All right, everybody. We are here live with two amazing people, Kitten Lady and I am the Great Went. We've got a couple people that are just going to join real quick.
Hello. What's up?
Say
hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Everybody's saying hi.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
And
How's
everybody's
everyone
logging in.
Thanks for
Smiley
joining.
faces. Hearts.
All the kittens are on the other side of the room
All
right
the
now.
kitten. I see one in the mirror in the
You got
window.
one?
So we are at Meow Box headquarters in Vancouver, British Columbia. And we are in their kitten room. So we've got 6 kittens and a mama around us. People are saying, hello, Kitten Lady.
Hi.
From Indonesia. Hi, Hannah. Hi, Andrew. So we've got a couple of questions that we got from you guys, our followers. And we're just going to launch into it, and away we go. So, this is a question for Hannah. What is your best lesson learned from merging your 3 cats? I guess it's a question for both of you, actually.
Be patient.
Yeah, patience is really important. So, for those who don't know, we moved in together in February, and Andrew has a cat, and I have 2 cats. And so it was kind of our first lesson in integrating our cats. We actually did a call with Jackson Galaxy to talk to him about his advice, because he is an expert about cat introductions. The best advice is to take it slow, to be patient, to understand that, like, if there's hissing, that it's not going to be forever, that, you just have to be very gentle and, persistent in what you're doing. So,
yeah, consistency was key. We had to do the same kind of routine a couple times a day just to habituate them with one another, but
baby gate, feeding them where they could look at each other. So I really recommend looking at Jackson Galaxy stuff if you're introducing cats, because he really helped so much for us. Now 2 of our cats, Coco and Haroon, are super friendly with each other. Eloise is still deciding how she feels. So it's a slow transition. It's been, 5 months?
close to it.
5 months now, but so it takes time. But cats are creatures of habit. So anything new is going to be a little bit scary for them. But then after some time, they get used to the new habit, and they can integrate with each other.
Just a side question that came up. Is it true that some cats will just never get along?
Sure. I mean, cats are just like people. They have strong opinions just like we do. And, there are some people who are very, amicable towards others. There are some people who never want to be around other people. So, it depends on the cat, depends on their early history, stuff like that. But, most things really just are a matter of time for cats and kittens too. So time is kind of the thing that will help cats more than anything else. Hi.
Oh. Let's get a kitten pause. Have you ever adopted out a cat to find out she is being neglected or abused? Is there something in your contract where you can take them back if they are?
Yeah, so I do a really serious screening process with any people who adopt from me, meaning that it's not just giving out a kitten to a random person. My adoption process is that people can apply on my website, and then I look through the application and look for any red flags, anything that, there's a lot of questions people have to answer. Things like, have you ever surrendered an animal to a shelter before? If you had animals and no longer have them, what came of them? I like to know a lot about people's history. Oh my gosh, this little kitten is just looking in the mirror. I like to get a sense for what people's day-to-day life is like, even just like their philosophy behind, having a cat, why they're interested in adopting a kitten from me. So I do a lot of screening, and that helps me find great adopters. After that, I do phone call. After that, I do in person. So no, I have never had a cat that was adopted from me be abused or anything like that. They all go to really great homes. But I do have a clause in my contract. When you sign my contract, it says, You're never going to declaw the cat. You're, going to give the cat all the medical care they need, and of course you're going to give them, food, water, access to any medical assistance they need. So, and it does say in my contract at the end of it, if any of that is not done, then I get to take the cat back. But that doesn't happen because I work really hard to find great homes. So, I know people have a hard time. They're scared adopting out their foster kittens sometimes, but it's all about the screening process.
Just a side question that came up. Do you check vet references or ask for references of their vets or previous vets?
I ask people if they have a vet. Sometimes people don't have a vet because a lot of people adopt 2 kittens from me and they don't have any vet yet, but I usually ask people if they have a vet in mind, something like that. A lot of people with me do foster to adopt, meaning like they take in a kitten as a foster first, and then adopt them once their medical care is complete. So there's a little bit of a transition period with a lot of my adopters where we are staying in touch, and actually I'm helping pay for a little bit of the medical care that's still happening while they're still technically a foster kitten. So it's usually a pretty smooth transition for me with vet care. And actually a lot of people go to my vet afterwards.
Oh, perfect. That's perfect. How can you increase the number of adopters if you don't have a huge social media presence? So this is going out to, I guess, any other rescues out there that are trying to get their kitties adopted.
I say cast as wide of a net as you possibly can. So I didn't always have the following that I have. And I cast a really wide net. You can do things like even old school flyers posted around town in places that you think there might be people who would want to adopt. So, go to your local grocery store, your cafes, your pet stores, and put up flyers. Community listservs, online community groups, social media. A lot of neighborhoods have email lists, things like that. There's a lot of ways that people can be advertising kittens, but the most important thing is having a good bio and photos. I don't know if you have anything to say about how
photos
people
are just really important, I think. And we did a lot of people don't have nicer cameras and just have a cell phone. We did a video on how to take better pictures of your cat or animals with cell phones, which improved their chance of being adopted greatly. So I'd recommend go watch that video. It's on Hannah's YouTube channel, and good luck. Yeah.
Pictures are huge.
Yeah.
Definitely. How did you get started on your rescue journey?
Accidentally. I started rescuing kittens because I found a kitten, and then after that I found another kitten, and then after that I found another kitten, and then after that people started calling me, "Hey, I heard you rescue kittens. I found a kitten. Can you help this kitten?" And I'm like, "I guess I rescue kittens. Sure, I can help." And so I kind of got into it on accident, which is what happens to a lot of people, I think. Not everyone wakes up someday just saying, "I think today's the day I'll start rescuing animals." I wish more people would. But I got into it because I was kind of forced to, because I'm an animal lover and I saw a need.
How long ago was that?
That was about 9 years ago, I think. And so for me, this little one is rabbit kicking, so cute. So for me, it started out just rescuing kittens from the street, then from other people, then going to the shelters and saying, "Hey, I would like to help you with your kittens," and learning through that process that there are not a lot of resources for kittens in shelters. So that's how I started doing that. Then I started working for big advocacy groups, and animal welfare is my career, so I've always worked for big, mostly national or international nonprofits doing advocacy work. And then I was able to kind of mesh all of that together, and it sort of evolved into where I am now. Yeah, exactly.
What are ways we can help cats without the space or cost of fostering?
Well, that is an interesting question. A lot of people think that they can't foster because they think they don't have enough space or enough money, but it actually costs very little or nothing to foster. It really only costs you your time, and that is it, your time and your love, which is something that we should all be willing to spare a little bit of. So kittens don't take up much space. I don't know if you've ever seen a kitten. They're quite small. They fit in the palm of your hand. So you don't need a lot of space. We're in a kitten room right now, but,
it's not a requirement.
It's not a requirement to have a kitten room. We use playpens in our house a lot, so even when our I don't know, you want to describe what our house looks like when our kitten room is full? We have playpens.
Yeah. If we have, more than one litter, then we'll just have separate pens where they are enclosed and they don't really interact. Because they're small, and Hannah will sometimes just get small plastic tubs. When they're just a few weeks old, they don't go anywhere.
Yeah, they don't need much. So, so if you're interested in fostering and money is something you're concerned about, you don't need to be concerned about it because animal shelters and rescue groups pay for all of your medical care, and a lot of the time they'll even give you all the supplies. You just give them the space and the time. And then for space, you really don't need much. You just need a little playpen. But if you're not going to foster and you want to help animals, you can always donate to your local group that is doing it. Groups can only do this if they have the support. I can only do this through support. So if you are kind of watching from afar and you want to help, you can donate to any of the worthy causes out there, whether it's your local animal shelter or someone that you see online whose work you really like.
And you can volunteer.
And you can volunteer too, yeah. Like Vokra, I went to yesterday, the Vancouver Orphan Kitten Rescue, and you can foster for them, but you can also volunteer just to show up and help clean, So lots of ways to get involved, no matter what your situation is.
This is a super good question, I think. How do you disinfect non-machine washable soft items? For example, a playpen or a cloth kitten carrier.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. Sanitizing is critical when you're doing work with kittens because these guys carry all sorts of nasty little things like parasites and viruses. They're so cute, but they're full of stuff. So between litters, when you're fostering, you have to be super careful not to just reuse things, And so, with something like toys or stuff that you can throw in the wash, that's pretty easy to do. But for things that are larger, like cat trees or playpens, that is something people ask about a lot. So I use a product. Called Rescue. It used to be called Excel, and it's a disinfectant. But you can also use 1 to 32 bleach solution, diluted bleach, to spray down what you have. Or if you're really hardcore, you can put it in a steam cleaner. So if you're doing something like a carpeted cat tree, you can put it in a steam cleaner and disinfect it as long as you're using a really, really strong disinfectant. Soak it for the amount of time that it recommends. So like for the rescue, I let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes and then you can clean it up. But I use that between litters, Andrew will see me on the porch with all of the playpens and all the stuff, spraying everything down, and I leave it there so it has that contact time. And then, you can absolutely reuse stuff. But the most important thing is to think, when you're doing rescue work, can I disinfect this or can I throw it away later? You don't want to, have a kitten running around all over the place on things that you might not be able to disinfect.
Good point. Do you always let your foster kittens interact with your cats? Have you ever had any issues?
So I do a quarantine period of at least 2 weeks. So any kitten that comes into the home does not get introduced to the cats at all for 2 weeks. And then after that, it's really kind of up to
Sometimes
us.
never, yeah.
A lot of the time, they never do meet our cats. If it's going to be a longer term stay, then we might introduce them to the cats so that they can get a little bit more room to run around. So like Chloe, for instance, she does interact with our cats because we are going to have her for a little while. She's a paralyzed kitten. We're going to have her for a while. Mm-hmm. So do you have any thoughts
Or it
about
seems like if they're solo babies too, like Tidbit, we
Mm-hmm.
let interact with our cats. It's not that if they have brothers and sisters, then you usually
It's
learn
like
a lot of that.
this.
Yeah, then we
Yeah.
just leave
Yeah.
them in their
Yeah.
space so they can interact with each other. So it depends on the situation. Of course, if our cats are not feeling it, then we would never make our cats be around foster kittens. But
Haroon loves them.
Haroon does like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cat likes the foster kittens. Coco doesn't seem to mind them so much, and Eloise minds them.
But she minds her own business.
Yeah.
She'll sit in the window and just kind of be like, I hate you. The most important thing is that you're doing the quarantine period. So under no circumstances should you ever bring home a kitten and immediately introduce them to your cats. You should always quarantine them while you're doing all of your dewormer, monitoring them for any viruses, just really getting them to a place where you feel confident they're healthy and they're not going to be introducing anything
Yeah.
to another cat, but also ideally that you have a vaccine in them so that they're not going to pick up anything. You know, this stuff it's cute and it looks cute and fun, but it's also really serious because you're dealing with, you know, the health of vulnerable animals. So.
Is saving kittens going to be your lifelong career, or do you have other interests that you want to pursue?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I've been...
I hope so too.
Yeah, I have been fortunate to be able to do animal welfare as my career for a long time, and I always wanted my career to be able to focus just on kittens because I felt like nobody was advocating for them in the way that I wish they were getting. Like I used to work. I used to work with animal shelters and with cats, feral cats, and work with groups all over the United States on sheltering and cat issues. And I would always feel like kittens were kind of this like population that was getting forgotten. And my dream has been to be able to be full-time, well, kind of more than full-time, like 18 hours a day of work trying to change that so that people can start to see like this is a really horrible, sad thing that's happening, but that there's also like a really fun and great solution to it, which is to get involved and start, you know, snuggling kittens so that they can have a place to stay and survive. So I'm super fortunate that I'm able to do this now, and I work really hard so that I can continue doing it. Yeah.
Good. All right, this is one that I'm super interested in. How long have you been vegan? Is it difficult to be vegan when you travel? Do you have any tips for people that want to move to a vegan diet?
Cool. Do you want to start?
Sure. So I have been vegan. I've been vegetarian for almost 10 years and vegan for a little more than one at this point. 1 year. And my transition was really easy because I was already vegetarian for so long that the only thing I had to give up was half and half in my coffee, honestly.
And now what do you do?
And now I use soy or almond creamer, and it's just as good. Or I don't even use any kind of product in my coffee. I just drink it black. So my transition has been really easy. Once I was exposed to certain media that made me look at the dairy and meat industry in a different way, it was a no-brainer because I love animals, and there's, for whatever reason, this cognitive dissonance that we have when we play with our dogs and cats and then we eat a hamburger. And I wish that more people loved all animals and not the ones that just cuddled up with us at night and are furry. So the transition was easy. As far as traveling goes, there have been some places that are really meat-heavy, meat-centric, in South America, for example. But even then, we have not had... I guess Japan was a little difficult. We ate a lot of...
find great stuff.
We ate a lot of...
it's 2017,
tofu
man.
Balls
We live in the age of the internet. We can find anything that we want online, yeah.
Well, I lost like 10 pounds in Japan.
Yeah, but then we came to Vancouver, we put it all back on.
We have a lot of vegan restaurants in Vancouver.
So I can answer about it too. So I've been vegan for almost 15 years. And I started being vegan, so I'm turning 30 this week. And I went vegan when I was 15. I went vegetarian when I was 12 because I basically learned what happens to animals and wanted nothing to do with that. And then when I was 15, I was exposed to, kind of media about the egg and dairy industries and realized, oh my gosh, I'm such a hypocrite. I think I'm doing this great thing. And for me, honestly, I think the dairy industry is probably the most unethical industry out there. So I had no choice because I'm an animal lover, and when I was 15, I didn't know any other vegans. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I ate a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because I didn't even know how to cook at 15.
And your family was not vegan?
No.
Or vegetarian?
Oh,
They were all
no.
meat eating.
No. They were like, we'll see how long this lasts. And I was like, yeah, you will.
I'll show you.
So, that actually was the beginning of my advocacy. I was so angry when I was 15 that I didn't know anyone who cared about this stuff. I used to go hand out flyers at all the local restaurants. I would like go in places and just throw leaflets about like you're killing animals when I was like 15. Now I'm a lot nicer about it. But I do think people should consider being vegan, especially if you're an animal lover, because it is, like I said, I think it is kind of, well, I liked how you said it, cognitive dissonance, that like people are like, I love animals so much and I'm gonna now go like not just eat them, but like support an industry that really is so cruel and is dependent on like the cruelty of
extreme
cruelty of animals. So, in terms of travel, I travel constantly. I have a great time with it. I actually think it's when you are vegan and you travel, you get to like travel as a foodie because you're like, let's check out all of the stuff here. We've been like eating our way around Vancouver and it's amazing. And if people are interested in veganism, I say just like it helps if you know people who are vegan, and it helps if you don't just. Here's the thing that I'll say: when people just try to go to the places they already go and just omit stuff, veganism is not about just subtracting from the diet you have. It's about adding, and actually adding a lot of stuff. So don't just like go to McDonald's and get a burger with no burger. Like that doesn't make sense. Find the places in your city where there are great options, because there are in most places great things. And if you live somewhere where there's not vegan restaurants, check out like things like Ethiopian food, Thai food, Indian food.
Really easy to make substitutions.
Lebanese
or they're already
food, like
vegan.
so much great food out there that I don't even know if I ever would have been exposed to without veganism. So, yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people think that when you become vegan, all you're eating is lettuce.
Oh
like
my God.
Salad. All you eat is salad.
We
salad,
probably
salad,
need
salad.
to eat more lettuce.
And I'm thinking, geez, when I go to a vegan restaurant, like the last thing I order is salad.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding? I'm eating beans and lentils and rice and quinoa and like all this amazing
cheesy
food.
man.
We eat like, we're terrible.
I make a cashew cheese dip that is cheese dip that is just amazing, and
So
we're dipping crackers and and we're looking at, and I'm like, well, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, we eat a lot of like really not that good for you foods. Like since we've been here, we've been eating like donuts, pizzas, ice cream,
Yes.
and it's so good. And last night we had Chinese food, and Olivia, who we're staying with, it was an all vegetarian Chinese food restaurant, and she took a bite of it and was like, I think they gave you chicken. And we were like, they can't give us chicken. It's a vegetarian place. And she was like, it's so real. I'm like, yeah. So I think people just need to like try it. You don't have to be like, I'm going to be vegan now. But like try it. Like start going to the vegan restaurants in your city. When you go to your Chinese restaurant, like try the tofu instead of getting meat and see if you like it. Because if you like it, then there's just really no excuse in 2017 to be like, well, I have a slight palate preference for this thing that is like so cruel. I mean, it's a palate preference thing, but most people don't even know what they're missing with veganism.
That's
So,
really good. Do you think it's safe to let your cat outdoors? How do you feel about walking cats on a leash?
Do you have any thoughts? I just read a book about this, so
I'm very interested.
So when I lived in Philly, we did not feel like it was very safe to let our cats outside because we were on a very busy street, and so I never let my cat outdoors. But my roommate's cat, Grendel, loved being walked on a leash. And I think if you do it responsibly, I don't see why it would be an issue. I think it gives cats sort of the best of both worlds and has your peace of mind attached with that, because you know that they're not going to get out, they're not going to get hit by a car when you're guiding them, or they're guiding you, honestly.
Yeah.
I think given the right situation or like house, and if we had a lot of land, I think I would be more apt to let my cat outside, but we live in a city even now, and I would not let my cat outside.
Yeah, it depends on the situation. I think that there are a lot of really cool creative things people do, like building patios, where cats are able to go outside, but in a safe way and in a kind of controlled way. When I lived in North Carolina, I would let my cats out supervised I would put these little bibs on them that prevent them from being able to hunt. And it would only be for 20 minutes while I'm outside with them. And then we would all come inside. So I personally am not a person that would let my cats just run around outside, but I also am a person who understands context, and depends on where you are. There are some parts of the world where that's a really great thing for a cat, and then there are some places where we live in Washington D.C. where my cats that don't really understand the outdoors can't do that. But I will say we take care of community cats in our neighborhood who obviously live their lives outside, and they are very smart and adaptive, and they have their routines and they can do great outside. So I always say you have to meet the cat where they are. You can't force a cat to be a way that you don't want them to be. So I have a lot of respect for whatever the specific cat needs and can be successful. It's more about knowing your circumstances, what's going to be safe for the cat, what's not going to be safe for the cat, and then adjusting. So I will say that I want to give a shout out to Adventure Cats. If people don't follow Adventure Cats, I just met them last week in Atlanta, and they're amazing. And it's basically a company that is all about teaching people how to adventure safely with their cats.
Awesome.
And so they gave me their book, and I read the whole thing in one day because I was like, this is amazing. It's all these great stories of cats that go camping and hiking, and the book is so good. It just came out. So
awesome.
yeah, so I was reading it, and in that it teaches you how to do it safely, how to clicker train your cat, how to leash train your cat, what type. There's a quiz in there, so almost like Cosmopolitan magazine, love and relationship quiz, but it's about whether your cat's gonna want to go outside or not. And I did it
one
for
adventure cat and one non-adventure
yeah,
cat.
I think my cat Coco could do it. So now I'm I'm gonna order a harness and a clicker and see if she would like
he
that.
loves it. He comes shopping with me. He goes for
that's
car
awesome.
rides.
Really? Is he on a harness?
He's always on a harness when we're not in the house. And he actually, if I shake his harness, he comes running because he knows it's time to go out.
Yeah.
That's great.
And they come on vacation with us. They come to my parents' house when we go visit them. And one loves car rides. The other one does not. And the one that does not has his little home that he goes in the back. But the one that, my adventure kitty, he's on my lap out the window. He's trying to smell out the window like a dog. He goes out in the yard. I mean, he's a very funny boy.
Yeah, Vancouver would be a great place to have an adventure cat.
Well, it's quite pet friendly around here. So I actually bring him when I go to buy pet supplies. He comes to the pet supply store with me. He's not afraid of anything and front and center, and
cool.
He's a very funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited you need to check out the Adventure Cats.
I think I need to buy that book because that sounds like something that I definitely need for my non-adventure.
I think we brought it with us. Did you bring it?
Ooh,
we brought it.
Definitely check that out.
I'll show it to you. It's so cool.
Definitely.
So I think again, it depends on the situation, but if you're gonna do it safely. All things with cats are about. Everything with cats is about being able to read them and treat them how they specifically need to be treated.
I have kind of a hard question here that's been asked several times since we started. We have a cat person that's been fostering. They lost 6 kittens in the past 3 weeks to distemper, and now her mother no longer wants to foster because it was so horrible. I don't know how to answer this because I never had to deal with this as a foster mom, but do you have any advice or anything that you can say to that?
Yeah, totally. So, first of all, I'm so sorry that you had that experience. I have also had that experience, and it is a very hard thing to get over. I think it's important when you go into fostering to go into it with the levity and joy of knowing how fun this is, but also the awareness that sometimes things don't go how you want them to go, and it can be so hard. It takes a lot of strength to do this work. So my advice is to give yourself a break and know that that's okay, and know that actually giving yourself a break can help animals because you're allowing yourself a little bit of emotional distance so that you can be able to come back with a fresh perspective. It's almost like that whole getting kicked off a horse, you need to get back on the horse, but you need to do it when you're ready to.
Take some time.
So take time for yourself, even if that's whether it's a week or a month or 6 months, but don't leave forever. I had a few years ago a very, very upsetting experience where I lost a kitten, followed immediately by another very upsetting experience where I lost a kitten. And that double whammy almost made me just not able to like function with, like, I just didn't want to save kittens anymore for a little bit. But what I did was I gave myself actually I think like 2 months where I just didn't foster for 2 months, and I still did other things. You know, there's still other things that you can do during that time. But like give yourself some space. The thing that is that happens with animal welfare is sometimes we feel like we have to pile so much on our plate that we end up burning out. And so I think it's important to like have a strategy about that and say like, yeah, I just experienced this really upsetting thing. I'm gonna take some space so that I can keep doing this. It's much more sustainable that way. But different people cope differently with death. I personally try to learn from every experience, so I am not like a Rainbow Bridge type person. When people are like, oh, you'll see them at the Rainbow Bridge, I'm like, that doesn't work for me. What works for me is, but some people might be that way. For me, what works is being like, I want to understand what happened. Like, I want to like do a necropsy so that I know like what was the organ that was affected by this. Like,
how can we
what
help?
was the like what happened during this procedure that could have gone differently, and as hard as that can be, because sometimes you look back with regret and you go like, oh my god, it was a blood sugar thing, all I needed to do was give that kitten sugar, and you feel so bad. But what I will say is it's important to be able to say like, okay, like I'm gonna learn something from this, because next time, I mean, I save kittens now that I'm so excited that I save now, but then they make me think of kittens 6 years ago that I'm like, if I had known this, I would have saved that one before. But thank God I didn't stop saving them, because now, you know, the only people who can do the work of saving the really, really difficult ones are people who have lost them before, you know? So we're the ones who are able to do it, is the ones who, like, have had the strength to come back after that. So don't go away. You've already learned. Like, that is, you know, like a merit badge on your little jacket, even if it sucks, because you learned something from that. You're better at it next time. Yeah.
That's so like painfully inspiring.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it sucks. It's really hard. But yeah.
Okay, so we have one last question that came up a little bit ago. Do you know how many kittens you have saved? Do you have a number? Do you have an estimate?
It depends on what you mean by saved. People always ask that, and I'm like, I don't know if that means like kittens that I've personally raised start to finish, or kittens that I've had for like a week and then gotten them to foster, or kittens that I've like never met but I sort of arranged their care. I don't know. I mean, somewhere between a few hundred and a few thousand, depending on how you look at it. But I've personally raised probably, I mean, several hundred, maybe over 300. I mean, I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to know.
We'll tell. It's a
few hundred. A few hundred. Yeah. But I try to help as many as I can.
Of course.
Like, even if it's not personal, like, I don't take on more than I can at home. Like, I would never be like, Andrew, we're going to get 35 kittens. Like, that's nuts.
I feel like he'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
He would be okay with that, but I would be the one waking up in the middle of the night, so. But, no, but I try to, like, I don't just help the kittens that you see me personally helping. I also try to, like, coordinate for other people who, you know, like I just posted yesterday about Mr. Whiskers, who was a paralyzed kitten that I helped find a home. I've never even met Mr. Whiskers, but I was like, I love him. So, you know, I think there's so many things like that people can do beyond just fostering, like ways that we can use our networks or just our various skill sets.
Definitely volunteering at shelters, I think, is a big one, and at no-kill rescues. I was a foster. I sadly foster failed. It happens. But now I volunteer instead to try and help.
Yeah, you said you're there like every week, right?
I'm there every single week, yeah.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
You know, and of course I post cats that need homes on my Instagram. I've got a pretty big following.
Yeah, no, you do great stuff.
So
pretty big following.
Well, I mean, no,
over 1 million followers.
But you know, I mean, I've you know, it's a lot of cat lovers, so it's awesome to see somebody, you know, a rescue say, hey, can we get this cat pulled? We gotta get a foster. It's on, you know, it has 2 days left, kind of thing, and you know, we can get them saved. It's
totally.
I think my account has 100% success rate of any cat that's need to be pulled.
Well
so.
done.
It's so cool. Isn't it an amazing feeling? Like, but it also makes you feel like, oh my god, there's like so much power
It's like,
in a button.
I know.
Because you're like,
it also feels like it's never ending, and I also feel like I'm just like it's just.
You have to learn how to also do self-care too, because when you have social media like you have, or like we have, the amount of things that you could do is a lot, but it is a lot of work. So I try to, you know, like pick the things that I know I can be helpful with, and feel good about those things rather than be thinking of all the things that you didn't do or couldn't do. But yeah, I mean, social media is an incredible way to find animals homes, especially with these paralyzed kittens that, like, because I have Chloe and I got so many adoption applications for her, that is something I'm trying to do, is like,
I'm almost done.
My knees are giving out. I'm old man.
It's something that I'm trying to do, is like help other paralyzed kittens through social media find homes, because I have this long list of people who are interested in paralyzed kittens. So.
Yeah. And wobbly cats don't mean that they're not going to make an amazing pet. It's just, they just wobble a little, like things like, I don't know, paralyzed kittens, you know, any special needs. Anyways, we could talk forever. Everybody is saying how much of an inspiration you two are, and how amazing it is to follow you guys. And there's just comment after comment of how you guys are inspiring people to help kittens and help cats. And honestly, like, you may have raised 300 yourselves, but obviously you're raising thousands through social media and inspiring others to help.
That's the goal.
So,
self-replication. I can't do everything, but a lot of people, you know, when we all do something small, it makes something really big. So.
If everyone following right now went and fostered a kitten, we could save a lot of lives. But yeah, everyone's saying you guys are wonderful, and I definitely agree. So thank you so much.
We're so excited to meet you on your social media, so thank you.
Likewise. So we're going to be live again tonight. I'm going to a meet and greet at our cat cafe.
Oh, cool.
So you will see these guys again tonight. It won't be so intimate because there will be a lot of other people there, but you will see the cat cafe and lots of kitties and these two smiling faces again. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
And thank you to everybody that tuned in.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.